Hello everybody, hope you can all hear us. Oh, I can see.
Yeah, we got somebody going there. Okay, good.
Phew, we're live, it's working.
Yeah. We're doing the same thing that everybody does at the beginning of a webinar. It's like, is it working? Is anybody there? Can you hear me? And you think, I'm never going to do that. And all of a sudden, everyone's doing it.
Hi everyone. Wow, we've got lots of 34 people. That's fantastic. Hello everybody. Hope you're over your festivities. You've had a nice Christmas and New Year.
Wow.
So, oh, we've got a question. I've not seen this before working. So bear with me while I try and find how to use the software. So what are we going to talk to everyone about today, Norm? What are we here to help people with?
Mainly, we want to go through the reconciliation because that's something that's pretty hard to go through as just, you know, an offline video series. I mean, I will try and do that as well, but it's nice to go through and get the questions from you or the guys listening in, to shut me up for a second while I'm speeding through the process, because the reconciliation process is probably some people find it like, yeah, really easy. Some people just get a bit confused and expect STK to do some things that it just can't do. What it's trying to do is tell you, hey, you've got a situation here with your SKU, that kind of thing. So I just want to go through the reconciliation process, what you can and can't do with it, what all the different widgets mean, and how you can investigate your own missing stuff if you need to, how to go about setting up, if Amazon rejects your claim, how to go back and say, no, you're wrong, try again, because I do that all the time. Some people may give up that. So we'll go through all that.
I don't do that as much as I should. You said, we had a little chat yesterday, and you said you've got like 20, one of them's got 23 ping pong yes, no's, and eventually you won a little battle and got it.
Exactly. When I first started using this process on our own account was back in September 19. That's when I first developed it and got it going. And I would say, please reinvestigate. They come back with the same information, which is always like, it looks like an automated response where they just say, you sent in 20 and you sold 18 and 2 were unaccounted for. And I say, okay, yeah, exactly, 2 unaccounted for. Where's those 2? And they come back and I say, in the end, I'd just say, please pass this over to your manager because you don't understand what I'm trying to get to, or something like that. You know, I get a bit rude sometimes because I just get fed up with it. But there are better ways of doing it. And I've got an example of one that I'm working on at the moment where they've done exactly the same thing. And I can prove on STK that there are items missing. And that's what I want to go through. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of time then afterwards then to go through some Q&As of other things that are within STK. There are a lot of people that still don't understand that you can change prices within STK manually based on your own ROI or profit and send it in. Some people just didn't realize you could do that. So, and I get that question, I get that issue a lot where people don't actually realize they thought you can just do the calculation, then they'd have to go to SC to change the payment rather than just doing a save there. So we can go through that quickly. So anything else?
Sorry, no, 1 second. I'm going to try and manage the chat and make sure we don't miss any questions. If you've got questions, please pop them in the chat. I've got a pen and a notepad. I'm going to let Norm go through his reconciliation section first, and then I will come back to any questions. So please do ask them in the chat. I will pick them up and make sure we get to ask Norm.
Okay, well, we got we're 5 minutes in. We've got 49 people who have joined. I think maybe it's probably a good time now to like make a start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. First off, in case you've come from Emily's and you don't have a seller toolkit, I'm Norm. I'm the developer, designer, and everything else behind STK. It's just me. And if you've just come from a seller toolkit and you don't know who Emily is. Emily is from, she runs her own Facebook group, and you would have found a link within the Seller Toolkit post that I put up to her Facebook group, and I encourage you to join. Emily has been, I've known Emily now for almost a year since she first started using Seller Toolkit, and like most of the people that were first using it, she was very proactive in sorting things out and helping like highlighting maybe small issues, some big issues, and so she's very, very adept at sort of toolkit. She knows a hell of a lot about it, but still, like everybody, there are always bits there that
I still get caught out. We do have videos, yes. And I'm still like, I didn't know that. You're right. Like, it's been there for a year. I'm like, sorry.
Right. So let's make a start. What I want to do is a lot of the information for the way to set up a case is already in the help videos. Now, another thing is people don't seem to realize is that all the help videos, that question mark icon at the top there, click on help videos, and then you'll get all the videos. They've all been done with Emily. They're all on her YouTube, and they're very interactive and very easy to get through. And I just encourage everyone to watch every single one of these videos. I know a lot of us don't have a lot of time to do this sometimes, and it's a bit like in the old days where we used to get the DVD recorder, the DVD player through, and you just didn't read the instructions. You just threw the book aside and pressed play, and you never found out what all the functionality that your DVD player actually had, because you just like bung the DVD in and played, but it can do so many things. So it's the same with Seller Toolkit. There are so many different features and so many different things that you can do, and you won't know everything until you've watched every one of these videos. So do take the time to watch them, because I know some of you don't, because I get questions that are from private messages that will come up that are all answered in these videos. And so please just go to those videos and go through them first.
One thing I will say, obviously it's good to watch them, but if you really don't have time, just if you're doing prep or whatever, just have it on in the background and listen, because we do verbalise and talk through a lot of the things that are on the screen. So you don't actually, watching's ideal, but you can probably get away with learning stuff by just listening.
That's very true, actually. Yeah, if you're just listening to it in the background and then you go, oh, what are you saying? You go back there and you just replay it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do is just go through the very simple steps of what is reconciliation. Now, reconciliation is, there are many parts of STK's reconciliation, and it pulls all the data in and then does a kind of like a double bookkeeping effect, where you've got your missing items, which are calculated in a very different way to the reimbursements. They're two totally different calculations that come together, and then you can then STK, using these calculations, can try and fathom out whether you really are overdue reimbursements or not. So what you've got on the front, the first page, you go to reconciliation, you've got all the inventory items. What you're looking for, obviously, is just the two green ticks. Yeah. And if it's got those two green ticks, you don't have to do much anything else after that. I mean, if you did, you just click on the reconciliation dashboard, which is this icon far right, which brings up all of your widgets that tell you exactly where all your items are, what reimbursements that you had, what manual adjustments you've done, or whatever. So what you really need to do is just click on the inventory and then go to reimbursement overdue. Because what happens with Amazon is that in most cases, you will get your reimbursement without you having to raise a case. But there are those times where they don't even know what happened. It doesn't get registered correctly on their systems, and it goes past the threshold where they should have paid. Now, there are two thresholds. There's a 30-day threshold, which means that if an item is lost or it's damaged at Amazon, then they have up to 30 days to reimburse you. So that's what you'll see on here somewhere, like on this particular one here, you'll see pending. So this top one here has got 4 missing, 1 overdue, and 4 pending. Now, the 4 pending matches the 4 missing. So the one that's overdue, I'm going to take a guess that it's probably not overdue at all. It's not really missing, but I'll come to that in 1 second. So what you've got there is that there's 30 days, sorry, for everything apart from customer returns. A customer return, they have 45 days to reimburse you. And it's not 45 days from the day it was purchased, it's 45 days from the day that they asked for a refund. Now, they can ask for a refund, I believe, up to 45 days.
Longer in some cases, like electronics and stuff, it can be really
right. Okay, right. So, all right, electronics is a bit different. So, but normally it's about 45 days to do a refund, and then from that point of refund of the refund, you've then got another 45 days for Amazon to refund you if that item does not come back to the fulfillment center. Right, so as soon as it's refunded, your money is now taken off of your balance. They've taken that. So if it's only bought something for 40 quid, then you've had £40 added to your balance, less fees. And then as soon as it's refunded, that 40 quid is then wiped off your account again. And then you need then to wait for 45 days. The customer, if you send it back, there are many things that can happen. One, it doesn't arrive, which therefore you'll get a reimbursement. It does come back and it's in perfect condition, so they just add it back to your inventory. Yep. Or it comes back damaged. And if it comes back damaged, there's nothing you can do. All right? Amazon won't reimburse you.
Get those returned, because quite often I've had them returned and I've had a really good look at them and there's no damage whatsoever.
Yeah.
So they can go straight back in.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we've had stuff that are marked as customer returned, and we get them put in a removal order. It comes back, and there's like next to nothing wrong with it. So, and we've sent them back in.
Yep.
You know. So anyway, so what STK is doing in this instance is saying, like, don't panic. All right. So if you've got something that's come up as lost or damaged or whatever, and it comes up on STK, it says you've had a reconciliation issue or you've got a damaged item, don't panic. STK's got your back covered. It's going to tell you if you need to raise a case after the 30 days or after the 45 days. You don't have to do anything. There's nothing for you to do. So, but you've got these here just in case you want to look at something and say, well, I'm pretty sure I sent in 10 of these, and why have I only got 9 showing up? Just search for the SKU on here, click on your dashboard there, and all the information there that you need to tell you where your items are is there. Everything's there. So you just need to do a little. Sorry.
So from the point when it goes in the box with UPS and you put your shipment in, STK know the product exists and knows exactly which part of Amazon it is in at any point. So it knows if it's inbound, it knows if it's being transferred between centres, because quite often you'll see your box that actually count correctly for once, and you'll see, 61 or whatever has arrived. And then all of a sudden, like, there's 13 missing and everyone gets in a bit of a panic as to where they've gone. Seller Toolkit knows that that's being transferred to different centres, and you can track every single item all the way through the process. Am I right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Exactly right. There's one thing that's missing at the moment, and I'll just jump ahead. This is shipments here. Now, the shipments just says coming soon. Okay. What's happening there is what will happen there is that we will have shipment reconciliation. We don't have that at the moment. That's a little bit different because the information that you get from Amazon for me to present isn't all there. So if any of you have ever gone into your shipments and you click on the reconcile tab within the shipment, it normally comes up with a date that this is available for a reconcile.
Yep.
That date doesn't exist in any of the APIs or any reports. You can't get hold of that date. So what we're going to be doing in STK is saying, right, as soon as that shipment becomes closed, the minute it becomes closed, if the amount that you shipped in is different to the amount that they received, you'll get a highlight, you'll get a notification to go in and sort that out. And there won't be a lot to do. You'll get told that. At the moment, you don't get told that. You have to, on a daily basis, go into your shipments and see if it's gone closed and see if those items that shipped and received don't match. But that'll all be there. So from lost from inbound, there's nothing really in Seller Toolkit that catches that right now. But what it does do, you will see in your, I haven't got any, there may be some examples, we might come across one in a minute, but where when you look at the dashboard, if there are any lost inbound, you will see something on here saying lost inbound. At the moment, there's nothing showing there lost inbound, but you've got lost inbound here, for instance, and so it will highlight them, but there's no way of raising the case. You can't raise a case for items that are lost inbound through the normal Seller Central. You have to raise it through your shipment, which goes directly to the fulfillment center.
And you need your receipt.
And you need your receipt, exactly. So that's another day. That's another day.
So we're going to go into exactly how to do reconciliation. Can I just mention a comment from Gary? He said reconciliation is amazing. Had around £214 back when I did it for the first time. Mm-hmm. So what does that cover? Like 10 months of STK or something in that one? And that would be money back that Amazon wouldn't pay Gary voluntarily without him asking. Am I right in thinking that?
Absolutely. You wouldn't have got it. Some of you may be aware of the manual process, which is, it's been going around the YouTube and the groups for a long time, where you just download the inventory adjustment report, and then you filter that by D, E, and M, I believe. And then you have to split that up into 5. So everything that if you do that once a month, you probably have 20 to 40. If you're a normal regular seller, 20 to 40, which means split that up into 5. You're looking at 4 to 8 cases that you have to raise. Yeah. Then you send them all off to Amazon, and Amazon will come back with those, what I was talking about, those emails earlier, where they just say, no, there's no reimbursement due, and you've got nothing to go back on. You have no information to go back on apart from, well, I gave it a try. Yeah. Now, when I first started using this, I'm not the only one. I've had a lot of people come back and say to me that they've had this, they were doing the manual process. I was doing the manual process. When I first got this process working, I was able to get reimbursements for items where they told me previously I wasn't due a reimbursement.
Wow. So
this beats the manual process, hands down. It also beats quite a well-known Amazon refund app that's out there. I've tested it against that, and everything that was on there, STK had covered. There were other stuff that was on the other app where STK said, no, you weren't due, and you weren't due those items. And there were items on STK saying they were overdue and due, which were not on the other app at all. So it beat that hands down as well. This is, I don't know how, I can't remember how many angles this comes in, but there must be about 20 to 30 different angles of that's behind this process. This took one whole year to develop.
Did it?
Yeah.
Wow. And I know
not constant. I can't say that'd be constant. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's all I worked on. But from the start of the process to the end of the process, and it's still not finished. We still find things that need to be tweaked to make it even better. It was a year before I could turn around and say, this works really well.
Well, I personally cover all of the cost of all of my software every month and have change left over from my reconciliation. So we haven't done. I haven't done a lot, and I kind of saved this up for these webinars or videos that we're doing. I save them up and don't get around to doing them because I think, oh, that might be good. Well, that might be a good one. So I haven't been keeping up. But you have up to 18 months to claim. Okay. So that's another thing. If it says overdue, you don't worry. You've got up to 18 months. If you're brand new to STK and you've just joined and you've got a month's data or you've downloaded up to your full 18 months data. Now, sure, some of those may well be getting very close to being overdue. So you need to look into those and get those cases raised. But let's go into the case. I'm sure everyone knows this process, but let's just do it. So we're in overdue. Let's just pick one. I'll pick one that looks, one thing I didn't mention was the all, high and low at the top here. Now, all is obviously everything that's overdue. High means high probability that you will get a reimbursement, but it doesn't guarantee you will get a reimbursement. Low means low probability of reimbursement, but doesn't mean that you won't get a reimbursement. Now, I won't go into all the reasons. It's quite a complicated
calculation of working out what the high and the low. But simply put, it's if you're missing more, then it's saying overdue. There's a good likelihood that it really is, you really have got over, items that need reimbursement. So I'll just take a look at this one first here. So I haven't done any prep or working out what would be a good example here, but this has got 2 and 2. So it's saying I've overdue 2, and it's also saying I'm missing 2. So remember, those 2 calculations are done completely independently of your data. All right. So please open up the dashboard.
Just to be really, really clear on the wording on that. So are you saying there's 2 items missing, or are you saying there's 4 items?
No, there are 2 items missing, and it's also saying there are 2 items overdue. So they are the same item. So
2 items are missing, and those 2 items are overdue. So if you had 3 items missing but 2 overdue, it would split it up and say 3 and 2, would it?
Correct. Yes. Correct. Okay. Correct. That's exactly right. So the first thing, you've got these 2 statements at the top. You've got the reimbursement summary by disposition and the inventory statement. Now, I'm just going to go to the inventory statement first. Now, I've called it a statement simply because it works like your bank statement. You have a credit, a debit, and the resulting balance. So that means, so you have had 10 in, 10 credit. So my balance at that point is 10. Then we've got available 1. So that means I've accounted for 1, so therefore there's 9 unaccounted for at this point. Yeah, and then there's nothing here. I didn't fill in all the zeros. If you put zeros in there, then it just looks a complete mess. All right. So then you've got sold, shipped 7. So we've got 7 sold, 1 available, but we sent in 10, and they received 10. So where are the other 2? So if you look down the bottom down the bottom of this statement, it says 2. And that means you've got 2 unaccounted for. What you want to see in there is 0. So that 2 there is where that 2 up there comes from, 2 items missing. Now, if we look at the reimbursements, the reimbursement table up here, we can see that there's been 2 lost at the warehouse, and it's saying these have never been reimbursed, therefore it's overdue. So it's gone 35 days overdue. There's a good chance that they really have lost these, because there's nowhere here that it says that they've been accounted for. So if, for instance, there was down here, there was removed by seller 2, and this was 0, and this was saying lost overdue 2, what you'd have at the top here is inventory missing 0, overdue 2. That will then come under low probability. And the reason it's coming under low probability is because we really have accounted for everything. But Amazon has said they've lost 2, but they haven't told you, me, STK, that they found them, right? So what would normally happen if that had 0 missing and 2 overdue, and those 2 overdue were for lost warehouse, and you raised the case, there's a good chance they come back and say those 2 were found. And that's why it'd be a low probability. But that doesn't mean to say you don't raise the case. So those are the 2 most important. Then every other widget underneath here then gives you basically the breakdown of how these were, some of these were calculated. So you've got this middle one here, which is the purchase, shipped, received. So what you want to be looking at here is that received at Amazon is 10. Now they've told us they've received 10. That's the 10 that you've got up there. You shipped 10. So you shipped and received 10. 10 are there. You've got available, you'll be able to see that in an STK that you've got 1 still available for sale. You'll be able to see an STK that you sold 7, and on Seller Central, you'll be able to see you sold 7. Where are the other 2? If you look down here, you've got the inventory adjustments, which is where, hopefully I'm not going too fast up and down here. The lost warehouse is saying 2 here. Now that 2 there is coming from this inventory adjustment here, saying on the 7th of September, which is ages ago, right? Lost. Here's a transaction number of those items lost. There's a number that were lost. And the 30-day, because the 7th of September to the 7th of October, that's your 30 days. You've gone past your 30 days. They should have reimbursed you. They haven't. And this is where STK comes into its own, because it's told you quite categorically that you've got 2 items missing. Everything about STK, every reconciliation has shown that those 2 items are definitely missing. So you need to raise the case. Now, the best case, there are 2 ways of raising the case.
I just interject really quickly? Nikki's asked the question, can you explain the traffic light system next to the inventory levels? So I think she's referring to the red X, next to the 2. So if you go up a little bit, I think she's referring to, so you've got your number 2 with your red X, and then in another one of your items you had a yellow, and then you had a green.
So show it where, sorry?
Yeah, she just asked you to go through and explain what those coloured.
Oh, right. Well, X, it just means like something you need to look at. There's a problem.
So what does X one mean?
Yellow is. I will go into yellow in a bit. Okay, that's normally yellow. What yellow means is that you've got excess inventory.
Ah, okay. I shall make a note.
Yeah, and the green.
Cover it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get the green tick is just everything's okay. The red X is no, there's an issue, needs to be looked at. But like I say, only bother with the red when it says reimbursements overdue at the moment for this phase, what we're talking about here. So I hope you can see what I'm saying here. You've got it's 2 missing there. It's definitely that corresponds to 2 items that are missing within the reimbursement or the adjustment report. So therefore, there really must be 2 missing. And we've gone past the 30-day limit, so it's saying it's overdue. So there are 2 ways you raise a case. The first one, because when it's to do with reimbursements, you use this raise case. When it's to do with inventory, and I'll come to that later on, you raise the case using this template. So there are 2 different templates. So if I was to raise a case for this item now, you've got everything's laid out. So therefore, you've got what you do. You just like if you click on that, it's now copied that subject to your clipboard. Then click here, up here where it says Amazon Contact Us. That then opens up your Amazon tab. Let me just drag it across. That opens up exactly where you need to copy in the information. So if I just like get rid of that reason there and paste in the reason which I just copied, then go back and do a copy of the text body.
And you don't need to make any changes to that. What exactly as it should be. All of the vital information is in there.
All the information. Yeah. Let's read it. Let's go through and read it. So it says, hi, I've not been reversed for the following inventory adjustments for SKU, blah, blah. And the SKU is you've got the SKU in the top there. And then you give a list of the inventory adjustments. And it says, right, it's lost. Adjustments were 2, reimbursed is 0, missing reimbursements, therefore equals 2. Transaction details, it says the disposition is lost. The date of that disposition was recorded was the 7th of September, and the transaction ID and the number of units. Thanks.
So no more than that. Disposition may not say lost. It may say damaged. It may say customer not returned.
But exactly. Whatever the reason is, what your overdue transactions are, it will list them all in there. So you could have 2 lost, 2 warehouse damaged. You might have customer damage, which there is a customer damage where you do get reimbursed, but we won't go into that. It's just that you'll see it on STK. If it's there, just claim. And so this disposition could have a long list of many items that they need to go in and check, just as if they would do if you were doing it manually with the EMD filter. So this is just honing in on one SKU. Now, some people have asked, can I just do this in bulk? Because they're used to doing the manual process and doing it in bulk. If you do it in bulk, you're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your tracking mechanism for that SKU.
Furthermore, if one of them isn't, you're asking too early or there's an issue, Amazon will chuck the whole lot out. Do not give them any reason for them to say no or to dismiss it or to be unhappy with what you've put. So the less you give them, the less chance they are to be upset with you and make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. And then all you do then is just come down
So I always, where it says check FBA reimbursement status and all that sort of stuff, I always ignore that and I just scroll straight down to there. Before you get rid of that, sorry, Ben asked a question which I didn't know if you'd cover, but it's here. He said, how do you know which ones you've asked for already? And that's exactly what you were doing there, Norm.
What I did, I just cut and paste the case ID.
Yeah.
And I pasted that in there. Do save. What you'll see straight away come up there now. Got the case up there.
There are some where I've opened it once a month for like 3 months, so you'll see them all in order, in line.
Yeah. So this will only show you the latest case here. If you come down to this widget down here, you have your case log. So you'll see a list of cases and when you raise them. So again, you can just double click on that, do a copy, go into Seller Central, do a search on that, and then follow it up if you need to follow it up.
Yep.
And that's it. That really is how you just go through all of your overdues. So and if they're overdue, you said that you collect.
Sorry, the question below which said, "Can the system be automated?" I don't know how much more automated you can get.
Yeah, I don't.
You find out, you do your clicks, you send it, you mark your case, you highlight your case number, copy, paste, and done. I don't think it can be any more automated than that. Because is it true that the information only goes one way? So Amazon tells you stuff, but Seller Toolkit can't automatically tell Amazon stuff. It's like a one way.
Well, most of it, you're absolutely right. Most of it is one way. Obviously, repricing is different because we can send reprices in, but you can do listing changes and stuff like that, but you can't raise a case through their API. There's a possibility that cases can be raised using some kind of screen scrape kind of process where it takes the information from SDK and then posts it in there. But in all honesty, all you're doing is a couple of copy.
I can make a cup of tea. So do you know what? So, questions come up from RJ. When I click the Amazon Contact Us button, it doesn't open the same help screen on Amazon that Norm goes to. It goes to get support. What service can we help you with? I had that same issue. So is it FBA? You just have to follow the logical path.
Yeah, do you know? See,
that was a recent change by Amazon, wasn't it? I got a bit stumped when I first saw that.
Yeah, I know. It seems to work on some and not others, but that is the address that's the only address that you can give. I don't know why it works on some and not others, but then you'll have to work your way down. And I believe once you worked your way down and found that particular point, when you do it next time, it won't take you to that.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Now you've said it, yes. But before you said it, I didn't realise. Yes, I don't have that screen anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I think once you've gone through to that process,
follow the pattern.
It won't. Yeah, go down and find the reimbursement email. Yeah. And then for some reason, when you get next time you do it, that link takes you there. I don't know why. It's a bit of a mystery to me.
And for me, I always get down to the no, the issue isn't covered, and I like to make sure I copy and paste the STK information. When they say, can you enter the FNSQ or can you enter the transaction? I'm just like, no, I'll leave that blank, and I try and get to the point where you just send the whole of that email.
Yeah, I don't fill anything else in.
Yeah, I like to just make sure it's there. And
yeah, exactly. There's no point in filling anything else in what it asks for. Let's just do exactly what I just done. Paste the subject, paste the body, click send. Job done.
Okay. Can I just answer some questions before I lose them, because they're quite relevant to where we are. If I've missed anyone, please give me a nudge. I've got copy and paste not working in Safari browser. Is that something you're aware of? Is that
Safari is a pain in the butt.
Right.
I always recommend people use Chrome with SDK and use Chrome with everything, to be honest with you. Chrome is actually a wrapper around Safari, which is a bit bonkers, but it works better. So try it on Chrome. You use Chrome on your mobile for SDK especially. Yep. Everything else seems to work better on Chrome and Safari, on Apple stuff, and the same on your Macs and stuff. Just use Chrome, and I'm sure you'll find you'll get a better experience, because a lot of people, right in the early days, people were showing me some stuff how Safari was. Even the scrolling wasn't working very well in there. Do you know what I mean? Well, you go to Chrome and the scrolling works perfectly. So
fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. You're going to lose me because you're getting techie.
Well, I don't know what it is with Safari. I don't know whether they're dropping the ball on it because everyone's using Chrome. I don't know. It's a bit like Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Explorer, and Microsoft Edge. I mean, everyone uses. I want to say everyone. Most people these days use Chrome.
So we have another question, and that was how to resize your STK, which would be useful given we're having a discussion about stuff like that.
Zoom? You mean the Zoom?
No. How do you resize your STK? Let me look for the question. It was okay. Elaine, is there a way I can change the size of my screen when I try and view the last orders? Am I unable to scroll down on that section? I have to scroll down for the page instead. That's yeah. Well, I'll go into that. That's the question.
Yeah, that is something that I've actually got in one of the help videos as well. So what you want to do? I mean, we're getting off subject here.
Sorry, yeah,
we'll come back. I'll say very simply. Can I do Zoom from here? Yeah, your Zoom levels. Now, the way SDK is developed, the front end part is developed in a Google. It's called Angular, and it's based on Google, so it works best in Google. So if you're using, Chrome, Google Chrome. If you're using Google Chrome, you're going to get the best experience. So what some of you I've noticed you do is that I can see things are really crumpled up, and it will, I can't get it to go crumpled up like that, for instance, where everything's over 2 lines and it's all like a bit. It's just your Zoom level. Just go to your Zoom level and get it so that it looks good for you. And if it's all overlapping and going onto 2 lines and stuff like that, go to your settings, your browser settings, go to Zoom, click it down or up, whatever. Now, once you've done that, every time you go back into STK, the browser knows that you're going back into that web page, App Seller Toolkit. And so we'll keep the same Zoom you had in the past.
Okay,
so the Zoom is remembered.
Apologies, that's my fault.
Okay.
Jess has asked, can you explain the difference between the 2 reimbursement contact Amazons?
Yes.
Amazon reimbursement summary versus inventory summary.
Yes, right.
That's on my face. I might actually be able to read.
Right.
Or are you going to cover it? Yes, this will be covered now for you.
Yeah. So what happened the other day is that I raised a case using the reimbursement, and it was very similar to the one I just showed you just then. And let's see if I can get it.
I must say, I congratulate you on your taste of cars, by the way. That's a nice car.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Is that the wish list?
Well, it has been on the wish list for some time actually. I had a similar car not so long ago, and now I don't have a car. We just have the one car, which is that colour Audi, but it's not an R8. Right,
okay.
Where am I going?
So,
right, okay, so.
Can you explain the difference?
Yes, I'm going. What happened? I was trying to find the exact example, but I can't find it right now. So I'll try and find it in a minute. I raised a case very similar to what we did just then, where it said lost 2, and I can see from my inventory that 2 have been lost. They came back with their automated response, which was, yeah. Well, in that case, what was it? They would have said, yeah. We sent in 2, you have 1 available, and you sold 7. No reimbursements due. And you think, well, that doesn't add up, does it? It just doesn't add up. So, and they'll say adjustment 2, but it won't tell you what that adjustment was. Yeah, or they'll say 2 were found. And if they say 2 are found, well, if 2 are found, why is my inventory statement here not showing those 2? Because those 2 should be either, it should be defective. There should be 3 available. There should be 9 sold. You know what I mean? So to bring that to 0. So I know there's definitely 2 missing. They've come back from their reimbursement process. Yeah, they were found. Okay, cool. They were found. Where are they? So this is what you do. You then create this. You copy this case as your reply. and then you just copy this information here, because this information is not down to reimbursements now. This is a copy of that reconciliation of all your inventory. So it's saying, look, it says same thing. I require reimbursements. This has got missing items with that requirement. I provided the following details. So here I'm saying I shipped 10, you received 10. There's available 1, and then it gives all the other ones 0, and then sold, shipped 7, and then down the bottom it says, right, so therefore there are 2 missing. You can't argue with that, but Amazon will. And I sent the first one, just like we just did then. They came back and saying 2 were found, and I said, well, no, they weren't found. There's something wrong with your calculations. And then I send them this calculation.
Right, okay, hang on, put the brakes on here, because hopefully, touchwood, I'm not the only person. Hopefully everyone else is doing an aha moment too. When they come back and they say 2 have been found, I assume that they've literally like either taken 2 from their own stock or nicked 2 from someone else and given me 2 back. That's not true. That's not the case.
They may do. Sometimes they do find somebody else's items and put them in with you. But in this case, that's fine. Right? Okay. You said 2 are found. Where are they? It's not. I can't see that. I've sent in 10.
So
I've sold 7. There's 1 available.
Finding 2, great. Move on.
Yeah, and I don't. I absolutely don't. And sometimes you might think, is it worth my time? Because it's £10. It's going to take me another hour, like over the next week. No. Absolutely, your money. It's going to take you 2 seconds to cut and paste that and saying, and I always say, please. What I do, I say, your reconciliation is incorrect. Bold statement, right? Just say your reconciliation is incorrect. Please reinvestigate, and I give them that cut and paste instead.
Wow.
And then, on this particular one, they came back and it was the cut and paste or the automatic response, which was precisely the same as the last one, right? So I haven't got, like I said, I was going to find it, but what I'm going to do, what I do then is that I say, please pass this over to your manager.
Right. Okay.
And leave it at that, because then hopefully it won't get caught by the automated response. Yep. And then 9 times out of 10, I get reimbursed.
Right. Okay. So all those ones where they've said found, I just need to go and check and say, where are they found?
If your missing items are still showing as missing, yes, because where are they? Where are they? In
that case. Okay. Awesome. So basically, so when Amazon find them, if they actually find them, STK then changes the number and it all goes green.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So STK in this case is my Bible, and if it's not green, then I need to keep going and pursue it. I shouldn't just go, okay, thanks, Amazon.
Yeah,
I see these and I'm like, I think I'm quite a clever person. I'm really going, that makes no sense. I don't understand. Okay, thanks, because it just boggles the mind, and I'm just like, okay. So maybe I need to be a bit more kind of like keep going a bit.
Yeah. The thing is that.
You're welcome in the comments to let me know I'm not the only person who gets boggled by those. Please tell me that.
Yeah, well, a lot of the time this doesn't happen. A lot of the time you will get your reimbursed, because if it's damaged, if it's not lost,
I get most of my losses come back and say found. I found them.
Yeah, I know. They do, but if they did, this would not have come up on your high.
Right.
Yeah, it would not have come up on your high probability, because it would have said, it would have said something along the lines here. So, which is what I was saying earlier. If those other 2 were showing in one of these entries on this inventory statement, for instance, like you had 2 out, you removed by seller, that 2 would then become 0 all the way down, and your balance would be 0. So something's gone wrong. So what's actually happened? Not gone wrong. Sorry. Your inventory is definitely being calculated as 0. Everything should be hunky-dory. So even though it says you're owed reimbursements, the likelihood of you getting reimbursement is now low, because STK has found, it knows that you've sold 7, you have 1 available, and 2 you removed. So it adds up to your 10.
Trust STK that the information STK has is right. It's more right than the Amazon bot's response, I assume.
100%. I've proved it time and time again. And the fact that I get reimbursed, 9 times out of 10, even when they come back. And like I said, when I was first doing it, there were 23 back and forward emails before I got reimbursed. But I had to keep that because I was testing STK.
Mark's record, Mark just said, I've just found an item with 108 missing. That's right. Massive.
No. Now, is that right? Does that come under, is that reimbursements overdue or missing inventory? Because the missing, right, if you go down to missing inventory, which we'll come to in a minute, there are a few things that I'm still working on to be able to make sure that that actually ties up. Because sometimes it could be, I had this conversation with one of the users the other day, and there was an issue, and I did fix it, and I ran the reconciliation on everyone's account to take account of that fix. But sometimes it can show a lot out of balance on some items, and every time that happens, I end up having to look and say, right, I dig deeper. Like, it doesn't happen to mine. I dig deeper on the custom, on the STK user's account to find out whether it's issue.
Mark wants to drop Norm a quick message afterwards. You'll look into that because that sounds huge. I've never had anything that big. Can we just go and simplify it just for a second? In literally like 1 or 2 sentences, and I know that's not our style, but in 1 or 2 sentences, can you literally explain the difference between the 2 reconciliation sections? Because you've got the people just want to make sure they're clear on the
right. So the inventory
statement.
Yeah. Okay. Inventory statement. That is based on the inventory that STK knows, and it knows everything about your inventory. It knows exactly how many you sold. It knows exactly how many are available, which are inbound or reserved. It knows how many are defective or expired. All those items there, and there's more items that will appear there when necessary. It just knows, because that's what STK is. It knows exactly where all your items are. So if that's saying there that there's some missing, one, like was it Mark's case, it could be something where a shipment or a bit of data has gone a bit wrong, and I'll look into it. It could be, more than likely is because there really is that it's unaccounted for.
Wow, really?
Totally unaccounted for. Yeah, it's totally unaccounted. Well, that there is telling you there's 2 unaccounted for. Where are they?
Wow, true.
You know, it's saying I sent in and received on the shipping. Now, like I said, the shipping will show this once I finish it. But there are definitely 10 sent in and 10 received, and that there is showing here, right here. Right, so that information is coming directly from Amazon. They say, yeah, we received 10, and we know we sold 7 because that's what's showing on your ST account. If you look at your orders for that SKU, you'll see that will match that number there. So I've got the shipped and the pending orders. You'll see there's 1 available. Then, so if I've got out 8, but I sent 10.
Can I just get you to clarify some terminology? Bogdan's asked, can you explain what swapped out means?
Right, that's something that comes on the inventory adjustment report on certain items, and this is where Amazon make a mistake at the fulfillment center.
What?
And they assign it to the wrong SKU, wrong ASIN, or something along those lines. And so it's swapped in. So what you'll see is that on one item, you'll have swapped out, and on another SKU, and it doesn't tell you which one, you'll have swapped in. So say you sent in you had a box, and in that box was 5 of Lego set 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of Lego set 5, 6, 7, 8. And they all got somehow, all went into 10, went into 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all assigned to 1, 2, 3, 4. What would you then see is that you'd have 5 missing on one Lego, and you'd have 5 over on your other Lego. They then realize they've made a mistake, and they swap out the 5 from the one where it's got showing as 10. So that becomes swapped out 5, and they will then see swapped in 5 on the other item, and then they will balance out. I hope that made sense. I'm not 100% sure how it happens.
Very often, it's not very often.
It's very rare. It's very rare. It's very, very rare. But it happens where they've somehow something's been allocated to the wrong school, wrong AC or whatever, wrong, I don't know, and then they swap it in, swap it out, and they call it swap in, swap out. So that's what comes up. So
awesome.
if you see swapped out and it's a minus figure, that's there will be a positive figure somewhere else to put them back in, but there's no way of tracing this where that swapped in, swapped out came from. So I can't reconcile until I say, because I would say like it was swapped out and it went to this SKU instead. So you could like reconcile that. There's nothing on Amazon, as you'd expect. Amazon don't give you all the information because they're crap.
Giant puzzle. So Nikki's asked, in what scenario would you have a minus inventory number on the balance statement?
Again, I'll come back. I'll come on to that.
Okay.
So,
do you want to go through the questions and catch up, and then you let know what you're going to cover, just in case, because there's a few.
Well, yeah. I think what I want to do is just say that took nearly an hour to do what I said takes 2 minutes, right? So I know we've got a lot of questions. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into it, but
okay.
It's just all you're doing for your first, time into is you go to reimbursement overdue. You use, when it says reimbursement overdue, you use this template always.
Which template? I can't see what you're clicking on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, right. This template, right? This one here, the raise case within the reimbursement. So that's the one that you'll always be using for your overdues.
Right.
Okay. Now you'll only use this for 2 reasons. One,
sorry, only use this. What's this? The inventory statement.
Can you not see my? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'm trying to get.
Inventory. So I'm just trying to be really clear. Reimbursement statement by disposition is the one you use first time you're raising a case for a new item that's overdue.
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
So that's your go-to. Reimbursement summary by disposition. That's your go-to. Can you just press that sort of mail sign just so everyone can see? Because as like we said earlier, people may be listening to this and not watching it if we do manage to work out to record and put it on YouTube. So this is your go-to when you find a new item that needs to be addressed.
Yes, and the difference in these 2 templates is that because it's a reimbursement, it can pinpoint to the actual disposition transaction number, and that's what they want for reimbursements. They want the transaction number. 9 times out of 10, they want the transaction number, and this is exactly what it's doing. It's giving them the transaction number. Whereas when you're doing raising a case using an inventory statement, it's based on what you can see on that statement, which is all your. And I've put this very much in a similar template as what Amazon reply to you with. They reply it to you with this equals 0, this equals 1, and the sold shipped, it sells -7 because that's how they show it. So I'm trying to speak within their own language here. Yeah. So this information shown here is this information here.
Perfect.
And that's what you use. 2 reasons. One, like I said earlier, when they come back and say those 2 were found, and you say no, they bloody well weren't, and so you create that, you copy that in.
Literally all you need to put, just literally reply, say sorry, can you have another look? Here's more details. You literally just reply.
You can be as curt or as nice as you want, but I'm quite straight. I haven't got the time to mess with these people at all. So I just say your reconciliation is incorrect. Please reinvestigate.
Right,
and then I cut and paste that in.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. So you can write a paragraph if you want of how much you believe they're wrong or whatever. But no, you're wrong. You're wrong. and right now, if you give up, right? You give up, or there are times when. So this particular one says too. There are times when Amazon don't require the customer to return an item. I think it's certain, isn't it grocery? Certain grocery, I think, yeah. So it will come up here and say pending 2, or pending whatever, pending 1, customer not returned their cornflakes, right? And you'll set up, you'll go in there, right? Create your case, and where's my reimbursement for my cornflakes? Yeah, and they'll come back and say, Amazon will not reimburse you because the item does not have to be returned, and point you to a million policy links to Amazon, right?
Followed by, how have we done?
Yeah, not very well. Okay, yeah. So what do you do then to stop this showing? So what you do is say, right, so I've sent this, say they've sent back and said, no, those two are found, or it's something that I'm not going to pursue. We go into the adjustment. So can you see there where I'm clicking on the edit? You go into adjustment. And so I need to adjust this by 2. So I need to downsize.
Always going down, not up.
I'm going down, yeah. So you go the opposite number. So if that's a positive number down here, you go the opposite, which is to take 2 off. And then you just put your comment in. And normally I put something rude, like, right?
Yeah, love it.
Something like that, right? And then save it. And what happens straight away is that you'll see your reimburse, your manual adjustments comes up too. This has now gone to 0. And what will happen now is that you've got missing inventory 0 green and reimbursements overdue 2. This means that it will now won't show on your higher probability anymore.
Okay. So just as a point, so obviously get yourselves caught up, get back all the money you can from Amazon. Someone at the beginning, forgive me, I can't remember who, said they got back over £200 first go. Once you're up to date and once you've caught up, for me personally, every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is look at my money. So I do my daily disbursement, I make sure money's hit my bank, and then I go straight into Stk and I look at the alarm bell, and it will come up and say overdue. And so it's literally from midnight onwards. So I've generally got between 0 and 4, depending, what sort of time period it covers. And so I'm never in a backlog. I'm literally on a daily basis. And quite often, 3 clicks, you've opened your case, and I quite often get the answer within 20 minutes, half an hour with a reimbursement. It's very, very quick. So once you catch yourself up, I recommend you catch yourself up. Just asked earlier, if you've got 2 items pending from different dates, do you wait for both dates to hit, or do you do one and then the other? Does that make sense?
No, sorry, say again.
No worries. So if you've had, so on the 1st of December they lost something, then on the 2nd of December they lost something different. It's a different one. So they've lost 2, but on different dates. Do you wait for both dates to hit so that everything's straight, or do you request that
it's up to you. You don't have to, because you can wait and just let it, but then another few weeks later you might have another one lost or another one damaged, and then you end up with all these pendings. So what happens is that when you create that case, it only will pick up the transactions that are overdue. So if you've got, as you say, you've got one, it's become overdue, but another one has just gone lost and is pending, that's fine. Raise the case, because it'll only be talking about the one that's overdue. It'll only send that transaction number saying this is one that's overdue. Where's my money?
So my perspective is, I want Amazon to have as little as my money for as short a period as possible, to be fair. And as you sell more and more items, you'll find that you may never catch that up, because by the time you get to 30 days or 45 days, another one might come in. So you may never catch that up. So it's really good practice. Just look at that alarm bell every morning, even on weekends or whenever you log in. And I do literally on a daily basis.
Yeah, and if you're not sure what Emily's talking about here, your notifications here. Now there are so many notifications, and some people don't clear these down. I actually now changed the process now that after 2 weeks, if you haven't done anything about it, it actually falls off now, because there were some people in the database had 2,000.
You've got one there. So you've got one there on the 28th at 12:22.
Exactly. So what you got there, you've got reimbursement overdue. And all you need to do,
on them, does it take you directly to the point you need to be at?
So exactly, all you need to do when you see this come up, just click on it, and it will take you to the item and open up the dashboard for you. So you're directly there. Click on there, copy, go to contact us, copy in your case ID, save, job done. I mean, how long is that going to take you? I mean, I know people say make it automated, but there's only so far we can go with Amazon and what you can send into Amazon. So, yeah, if like for instance, what's this is showing up at the moment, 36, I think, wasn't it? I've got to go through, and like I say, I leave them open up for demonstrations like this. And I know I've got 18 months. You've got 18 months to claim back, so you don't have to be in that much of a rush, but if you do 36 in one day, you'll probably get you could get a slap from Amazon. Do you know what I mean? Because you've raised too many cases in a short period. So just say, well, I'll just do 5 a day. 5
a day and do it over a week or a month.
Five exactly. If you've got 50, you do 5 days. You're done in 10 days.
Yeah.
And then all you got to do then is like it'd be a bit cumbersome because then you've then got probably 9 of them will come back as normal. Will say, yeah, here's your reimbursement, and the other 1 in 10 won't. And then you've got to go back and graze or go back and be response like we showed you earlier. Yeah. And then it depends. I will not give up. Right, and even if it's for a £5, I won't give up. And one of the main reasons I won't give up is because I want them to tell me exactly where that item is. Yeah. Because what happened during testing a year and a half ago when I was testing, they'd come back and say no because of this, and I go, oh right, I haven't included that in my reconciliation, so I like to go back and fix that up so it does. So now I've got to the point now where that never happens. So I think I'm 99% sure that everything now is covered here, and you don't have to do anything. There's no need to panic. If you see pending, leave it, because it is 9 times out of 10 that pending reimbursement will arrive.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of questions, and some of them I don't know if they're generic or if they're really specific. Norm or I will respond in a private message, but we'll have a go and see if we can solve them. So Nikki said, I've inventory I've requested back. I've received it. However, it's showing up that the reimbursement is due. Is that one of those? Is that a situation you've come across before?
They've been reimbursed.
It says, I've requested back and I've received it. However, it is still showing that reimbursement is due. To me, that sounds like you've had a little bit of luck, and I'd just say thanks and move on.
Yeah,
I've not heard of that before. So yeah, I if it's only happened once, I wouldn't. Yeah.
The thing is that if you're happy and it's showing inventory missing and it's not really missing, you don't believe it's missing because Amazon have told you it's a customer return that they don't have to return, just to get it off your list and to say it's done, you just click on the edit and do the adjustment. Do your manual adjustment. It then comes off your high probability list. It will still exist on your low probability list. I'm trying to find a great way of being able to reconcile against the actual overdues and pending, but the calculations behind this don't allow it. They really don't allow it to be that easy. It's very complex to come up with something that looks as simple as this, even though some people don't actually find it that simple. But you just got to read each of the statements as one line. Yeah, where there's nothing, where there's blanks, it means nothing.
Okay, so Brianna has got a question that's, I think it's personal to her account, so I will ask you to have a look at that after the webinar's finished. We've been asked, is this going to be available to watch again? Someone joined a bit late. We think we've recorded it, and touch wood if we have, it's going on YouTube. I don't know.
I tested this all out yesterday. First time I've used Webinar Jam, and the recording worked, so my assumption is that the recording will work this time.
Okay. Too. Gary's VAT question we'll do right at the end because that's a different screen, but I haven't forgotten it. Jed has said, really quickly, could you just clarify again the relatives of high and low filters? I don't know if you've answered since you put the question up. Should I only do the high ones? I would do all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would pick their head until they decide to give you what's due and what's yours.
Right, I'll just go over the relevance of that again, of why high and why low. There is quite a bit of there's quite a lot of calculations that are going on in the background. So I'm not going to be able to give you the specific exact reason, but what I'm going to tell you is very simply is that if it's high, let's go to all. Don't know why that he keeps coming up. Let's get out of here and back in. Right. Overdue. Yeah. So
although pending and past due exists, you never need to even look at them. They could be hidden from STK for all the use they are to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll just bubble you if you get
yeah,
out.
that's just a filter. It's just a filter on what's actually pending. But you don't have to do any. There's no nothing for you to do. Past due. I've got past due here. These are items that were sold before I had the chance of getting a reimbursement for them. Yeah. So what a past due is that, see if this gives us enough information. Okay. The
date on that.
13th of November 18 lost. Okay. Due by the 13th of December 18, which means I've got 18 months from this date.
July 20.
Brings us to like somewhere early in 20. Isn't that right? Yes. So I missed out on that one. You know, so you're screwed. You're done. They've taken your money. So if that was like a £5 item, fine. If that could have been £100 item, you might have sent in a £100 item, and then you're not going to get reimbursed. You've gone past your 18 months. The other thing, I'll quickly go to this. I on a post just the other day, there was do I have to pay for backdata? And you do have to pay for backdata. You get a certain number of months free. And the reason you have to pay for backdata is because had you been a member of STK for 18 months, you would have paid 18 months of 30 quid or whatever, right? All I'm asking for is like £6 to cover the data that has to be got from Amazon, which takes several hours of CPU time. It takes a lot more of the database up, and there's not. It's not like this is like a nice like income for me. It's actually like that usage now on the database is being taken up. The usage of getting the data and whatever, and of course all the development I had to do. I mean, I don't think like, what is it, £5.99 a month? Most, you know, if you go,
what you're going to do is get one reconciliation for each of your past months, and you've covered your costs anyway. Yeah,
exactly. And so you just if you load your if you've been working on Amazon for 18 months and you want all your 18 months data so you can see it and your profit and loss, then that's fine. But what will also happen, you've got the bonus. Now, somebody thought that you had to load the 18 months data for reconciled work. And it's not that. It's just a bonus. The bonus is that more than likely you're going to get the same amount or more in reimbursements than it would have cost you to load the data. Yeah. And now the reconciliation process, I was going to charge an extra. It was going to be a separate subscrition.
To be fair, it probably could be. I mean, I'm going to plead for the 51 people left in the room. Please don't make it so. But it provides enough value, and it's the best piece of kit out there for that function. So yes, we are very grateful that it's free. So I would say everybody here is going, no, don't charge.
Well, I did get a lot of people saying, it's a USP and all that, and I said, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Norm, you will be life. Right, Ben's question: where you have an ASIN that has one reimbursement overdue and two additional inventory missing, so they're different, can you raise two cases at the same time for one overdue and the other one missing? So if you've got two different issues, so one's been lost and one's been damaged, or one customer not returned and one damaged, do you have to raise them separately because they're separate issues?
The problem is exactly what happens again is that if you've got reimbursements due SKU number XYZ and you raise two cases, they normally merge those two cases together.
Okay.
So there's not really, if you've got some missing, I've never come across that situation where I've needed to raise two.
Okay.
Because if it's missing, if you're more and you've got overdue, the overdue is normally due to the missing. But what I would do is like do the overdue first, get that out the way, get it closed, and if you're still unhappy and you've got missing, go and raise the missing afterwards. But don't have two open with the same subject because they will merge them.
Right. Okay. So there was a question about VAT, right, from Gary, because I'm just going to go over a couple of the questions because we've got the questions here. I've just got VAT registered. Can you quickly explain what do I need to do in the VAT settings if I have to do anything differently, or in the VAT shown on the fees for setup?
Right.
So where does he go when he's VAT registered?
VAT registered, you go to settings.
Oh, okay. Nice. See, I would have gone down the side. Very good.
VAT details. Enter the HMRC date in the first field.
Yeah.
And in the second field, over here, the date you registered with Amazon.
Which will be different because you register and it takes you about a week to get your details through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and you can find that date in your Amazon profile settings. You'll see it. It goes through all your VAT settings and whatever, and you'll finally find the date that you registered. And that's the date that you want to put in there. And that will make sure that all your calculations are correct.
Perfect.
And of course, your COG needs to be correct as well. You need to have your right VAT settings. So, as you know, everything is 20% apart from most grocery. And you don't have to worry about sanitary products now.
Not anymore.
We're 5% up until the end of last year, and then as of like this year, they're now 0%. So if you've got COGS with them, they're set to 5%. Make sure you go in and set them to 0 so that you get the right calculations and whatever.
Perfect. Quick question from me. My VAT quarter finished on the 31st of December, and my accountant would like to know the value of my inventory at that point. Is there any way STK can tell me?
Easy, yeah. Of course, every accountant wants to know what your stock value was at a particular date for all sorts of reasons. And what you just go to reports, new report, and then you pick the Amazon fulfilled inventory, and then the date the accountant wants.
Okay.
So if you wanted it at the end of December, do that. Request a report. And what happens, that is actually the Amazon fulfilled inventory report that you can download from Seller Central. But what this does, it adds your COGS to the end of that report, so your accountant knows the value of all of those items. And that's
okay, so there's a total at the bottom or something, is there?
It's a total per row. So they
so all you do is just sum it.
All the accountant does is just sum it. Or if you wanted to sum it, you just sum it and send off that sum. But yeah. It's easy peasy.
Perfect.
Right. Should we go back to quickly before we've got some time left, but we'll go to the missing inventory because I think that's what somebody said I would come back to.
Okay.
Right. Just missing inventory. Now, what you're going to have on missing inventory is items like this, where you've got this first one. It says one's missing, but there are no reimbursements overdue.
Okay. Yep.
The likelihood that there's one missing is quite high, yeah. But what is it? Why is it missing? So if you click on and you look at, because it's not to do with reimbursements. This happens to be 0. It might not have been all 0. This reimbursements, but what the statement you're looking at now is your inventory statement because you're looking at inventory missing. This has nothing to do with reimbursements. This is your statement, your inventory statement. Your inventory statement does not balance. It just doesn't balance. Where is it? So again, 47 shipped down here. You can see that it matches that amount there. 47 shipped and received. Sold and shipped 47. Refunded 1. Now, this could well be to do with what I was talking about earlier. If something's been refunded, does it come down here? No, I haven't got.
It says units returned.
There you go. Sorry, it's there, right? See, this which here has got refunded orders. So that's talking about that refunded order. It was purchased on 26th of May. The return, the refund date was a few days later. And the return due by day, 14th of July. It actually says it was returned on the 11th of June. And it was nothing reimbursed, but it was units returned.
Does that mean it's returned and put back into your inventory and resold? No, that's saying it's been refunded there. Sorry, it's saying it's been returned, not reimbursed. So it's returned. So if that item has been returned, where is it?
It just, yeah, where is it? It's refunded.
Little old me would have been like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, if it's been returned, it's going to be, surely it's going to be either available.
See, I interpreted that as it's been returned in a sellable condition, put back in your inventory and sold to someone else.
No. See, Amazon don't do that. They say returned, it's been returned, then on another report or another process they'll say it's unsellable, and they put it into defective or expired or whatever. And so it could be anywhere. So, but one thing you can see from the inventory statement, that item is nowhere. I've shipped 47, sold 47, one was refunded. They said that it came back. Cool.
So the item's not been returned. The items
returned. Where is it?
Okay, all right.
Where is it? Oh. Okay, it's one. So you just raise a case and using, the inventory case. So you raise that case, they will come back and say, yeah, it was found or it was lost or something. You go, fine, okay, where is it?
Yeah.
Keep saying, where is it? If I've sold 47 and I sent in 47, one's refunded, where's the other? I had it was almost getting into an argument with one Seller Central guy a few months ago, and that went on for a lot of back and forwards. And I eventually got handed over to a manager, and they said, "Yeah, sorry about that. You will be reimbursed." You've got to be persistent and pedantic and get your money, because you're just dealing with people that are just, I don't know how their process works, but I can imagine they read it and they do click automatic reply, so, and they're not looking at it. They probably get paid by the number of cases they saw a day. I don't know, but it's wrong, and they're taking the mick, and that there I need to raise a case on, because that item is 100% missing. So say it's come back. Well, if it's come back, where is it?
Good question. Very good.
And so that's the difference. That is the difference between inventory missing and reimbursements, because Amazon have not said anywhere that a reimbursement is required, because it's not on the inventory adjustment file report. If it's not on there, it's just gone missing. It's disappeared into thin air. So nobody knows.
I've been using STK since day dot. I was one of the first people to use it, I think, and even I didn't interpret that correctly. So it's well worth doing it and the other way through. So I'm just responding to somebody's question. Okay,
Is that enough? Because we wanted to go into that's all it is about missing inventory. That is all that is resolved. And I'll show you the amber, excess inventory. So that's why it's come up as amber, because it's saying, well, it's okay, but it's basically showing that you've got one more than you should have. So let's go into the dashboard for that. Again, I'm just interested in the inventory statement, and I've got sent 10 and received 10. You can see that down in the widget below.
I think that answers the question earlier about a negative number, because that's a negative.
Yes, number. Correct. It's negative because it's overdue. So that's why it's showing the one overdue. So that it says inventory excess up there instead of inventory missing.
So what do you do? Just go, thanks very much, I'll have that as with a touch.
Yeah, exactly. You just say, well,
a tiny percentage of all the things you
So you got your 10 cent, you've got 6 available.
Yeah.
It's got 1 inbound or reserved and 4 shipped. So that adds up there to 11, but you sent 10 in. So have I got 1 extra? Sometimes these end up resolving themselves. It could be that at the time it had inbound reserved, inbound reserved 6, but it was actually 5.
So that will sort itself out.
But the reports weren't tying up at the time of the reconciliation. Right. Another thing I say about reconciliation, people say, well, I got reimbursed this morning, but reconciliation is still saying I'm overdue. Reconciliation is only done on your account once every 24 hours.
Ah, okay.
Okay, it's a hefty process, a big hefty process that takes a long time to work through everything, do all the calculations. So it's just done once a day. So give it a day. If you see something that's missing today, and it's just a new item that you just sent in, give it a couple of days to settle down, because some of the reports aren't tied up, and then after a while some of these just resolve themselves.
Perfect. So Jed and also Mark have said all my excess inventory are MF items. Quite norm ?
Right. There's this is only for FBA reconciliation. So
So
what's probably happened here, and it's something I'm trying to work through at the moment actually, is where you're using the same SKU for FBA, then you swap that same SKU to FBM, or maybe the other way around, FBM to FBA. So then, like, it gets all a bit confused to say 1 minute is FBA, 1 minute is FBM, and I'm trying to sort that out. So at the moment, ignore it, because should I say ignore it? It might be something to ignore, it might not, because it might be picking up available, that you've got 10 available on MF, but it's FBA reconciliation, and so therefore it will say, well, you didn't send any in, so you've got 10 available in MF, none shipped in, which will give you 10 in excess, which is not correct. It shouldn't even be showing on the report at all, because it's MF. But there is something I need to sort out. I have noticed that happening, but it generally happens where you at some point it was FBA and then changed to FBM. So it got picked up as FBA, and now it's gone onto this report when really it should never go on the report because it's FBM. So just ignore those. If you've only ever been MF on that item, just ignore it. I'll get it fixed. Okay.
So we have another question, and that's asking about the repricer. You might want to put some gin in that bottle before you answer that question.
I'm going to be honest. Me and Emily, before we went live, said, "What are we going to say when we get this question?" Because we know we're going to get the question.
I managed to get like an hour and 20 minutes before it came up. Well.
Right, now we have 25 people on beta. Yes. And the way it's going is phenomenal. We have phenomenal results. We have phenomenal feedback, and I get hardly anybody from that beta group asking me questions or saying this has happened or that's happened. Everything's just working perfectly, and it has been working perfectly for many, many months. The issue I have at the moment of getting it live is I need to just put in a few nice things so that it works, so that you can get around it easier. And those nice things are bulk changes. So one of the things that some of the betas have had is that they've copied in all their min and maxes from another repricer
that shall never be named.
Well, there's a few of them actually, and you can just load in all your min and maxes. And so they load in all their min and maxes, and then they realize that STK doesn't really work like that. It does, you can have overrides, but it's not the best use of the repricer. And we'll go into that. We'll have another webinar in maybe a couple of weeks' time when we're looking to launch, and tell you why it's different about having min and maxes like every other software does, repricer does. You really want to be looking at everything in a whole. So all your FBAs and all your FBMs have minimums based on a class. So we'll go. I'm going too fast.
We're going to go through it, and then it will launch at the end of that webinar, and we'll do it.
And I'll just say why there was a problem. So what was happening? People was like, because they're coming from a min-max mindset on individual items, which is perfectly fine. They then realize that actually that's not how I want to run it. I want it rules based in class. I want 10 rules, and I want that rule applied to those kind of items, and that rule applied to those items, that rule applied to France, that rule applied to UK.
Oh, one rule applies to your entire inventory, which is how I run it.
And I do the same. We have one rule for everything. And some people, you've got to change your mindset about the min maxes. Again, I'm going to. But what was happening was that I was getting people who loaded on the min maxes realize that that's not really how I should be using it, because I had conversations generally with Emily, because Emily was doing a lot of tutoring with some of the reprice betas, and they go, the pennies dropped. So then they say, how do I delete all my min maxes? And now there's a way to do it. There's a spreadsheet upload to do it and stuff like that. I goes, okay, no problem, I'll do it. And I just do it on the database and just cleared in a second. But I was getting a lot of those type of requests to change. How do I change this rule, everything that's on this rule to this rule? And now I knew I had to do bulk changes. That's the piece that was missing. So I was having to do that manually for everyone, just database changes directly in the database.
Which is fine.
That's the bit. Yeah, when I got 25 people. It's not going to work if I've got 50, 60 people. So I'm building the process for bulk changes and for filtering, and so you can get to all your items really quick, So if you want to change something, it's changed in an instant. The trouble is the process, the piece of work to do that is not taking me that long, and I'm almost there. What was happening was that I was being distracted on other pieces, other bits of work that needed doing, other fallout. So in other words, somebody would like text me. Well, one of the problems that you've just come up here,
that's the problem, because like you are still a toolkit. Like, I try and take some. I mean, people can message me through my Facebook group, the Amazon Sellers Knowledge Bank, at any point, or use the YouTube videos. I am trying to take some of those questions from Norm, but people kind of want Norm because you're the guy that you are STK. So if people can try not to clog questions, maybe come to me or post them in a group and other people respond, then hopefully we can help sort of free you up a little bit, which means the repricer might be available when?
I'm really hoping that we can look at a countdown launch and maybe a webinar at some time next week.
Oh wow, exciting. Okay.
Yeah,
you do know everyone's just like screenshotted that one sentence into that.
Well, you know what happened over Christmas was that I saw a huge settlement in STK where everything was like running fantastically smoothly. The messages that were coming through were quite easy to respond to. Didn't seem like there were anything holding up. One thing that you don't want is any server or database problems, which we've had, and they're sometimes nothing to do with STK, to do with the provider. They've messed up a couple of times. We use Azure, Microsoft, fantastic service, but like everything, it can break, and when those things break, it can cause quite a lot of backlog within STK, which then could put me back 2 or 3 days to fix everything up. And then people will be asking me questions, why has this happened? Why has that happened? And I'm replying the same response to everyone. Do you know what I mean? So that takes my time away from doing what I want to do. So, but we're really in a fantastic position now for me to finish off what really is quite a simple piece of development.
Okay, so the next question from Andy is, any idea on the price for the STK repricer? Will there be a migration instruction from other popular services? So question 1 is how much? Question 2 is how do you move over?
We will announce the price at the time, and there will be a discount for early adopters. It won't be grandfathered. That's all a marketing hype. I want STK to be around for 10 years. If I grandfather something for 10 years, I'm going to be paying more for the service than you're going to be paying for me. No, I will announce it. It will be competitive, but everybody, and I mean everybody who joined, not everybody was using a repricer, but most of the betas were using a repricer, and they were a bit tentative about moving over. Some people were tentative. They go, "Oh, I'm a bit." I go, "Look, you know, just do it. Go for it. Try it." You know, and I don't know. 50% of people replied, maybe more, said, "Oh my God, yes, I've just cancelled my other repricer within 24 hours." Yes. Yeah, Emily did, and so many others did. And I'm saying this out there, the people on this call that are probably in the beta that did exactly the same thing, that were tentative about doing it, and then go, "Oh my God," and then cancel.
So okay, so Andy's second part of the question, we've got a couple of questions popping in now. Andy's second part of the question was, will there be migration instructions from other popular services?
Yeah, it's really easy. I mean, you can upload the spreadsheets from those other popular directly into STK with no conversion. Okay,
Jed said I was one of those people, it was me, and I was going to wait for you to say that because I wanted to, but I wasn't going to name you. Jed took a little while to come over tonight, but I'm sure he's happy he has now. Rachel has said, will there be preferential price for current STK users? My understanding is that you can only have the repricer if you have STK. You can't just have the repricer as a standalone. Am I right?
Correct. You can't have the STK repricer as a standalone because you need all the information that's in STK.
I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, we've just spent an hour and a half talking about the reconciliation issue. I mean, the opening comment from somebody was that they made £200. I make enough money each month to cover all of my subscriptions. and all of my software, including the Repricer. So for me, it's a no-brainer to have STK.
Yeah. I've had responses from people that have made far more than £200 on their first week. So sorry, you don't get the reconciliation process while you're on the trial. Yes. That only happens once you've made your first payment, and then once that happens, people are quite blown away, and they do. Those messages are great, so I don't have to reply to them apart from fantastic work.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. So £600, I think was the highest one.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And some people like get tentative about, shall I download them 18 months? It's like,
yes, do it.
It's £100 or something.
The more you know about your business, the better.
You got to know about your business. It's not for the 18 months. It's not just for reconciliation. It's for you, so you know all your business, how your business has been running for the last 18 months.
Rachel says, I love STK, I was just trying my luck. Well, if you join in, this isn't a selly thing, it's a separate thing for the Repricer, which you're not even going to sell anyway. It's just something people may or may not want to take on, but there will be a discount for people who join early for the Repricer. So it's
I might as well say here that STK will be going up in price. Not for, I mean, for current users, it will go in price like for inflation, blah, blah, blah. Right. If you're not a member of STK at the moment, then I suggest you get in there quick, because the price is going up for new users. The other thing is, somebody just said there, it wouldn't hurt to have these webinars more often on top.
That's what I was going to say next.
Now, yeah, exactly. Me and Emily spoke about this yesterday and thought, well, if it's asked for, then most certainly, because I think that it's really important that everybody makes the most of STK. You're paying a massive £1 a day for this, right? And some people moan at that, and most of you don't. Okay, most of you don't. But it's for £1 a day, you're getting all the information you need on your business. Yeah. Not only that, the subject today, the reimbursements, is a phenomenal piece, even though I have to say so myself. I was quite impressed with it when it worked first time for me, and that was like nearly a year and a half ago.
So Bogdan said, I was going to change my Repricer. I will wait for STK. Love that. Thank you. Nice. Well, do you know what? Honestly, I've been a beta tester, and it's really, really worth it. I've got this graph that I somehow screenshot at the time, and it's got my previous Repricer that was kind of bouncing along here. Then I was suspended for like 12 days, nothing to do with anything. It was really random. Then I joined STK, and it just went whoosh. And not only did it go up, it stabilized. So while the other one was going up, down, in the min-max algorithm, and then STK just stopped it up and it just stabilized. So my business became really, really predictable. So it's well.
Well, the thing is that using the Repricer where STK works is based on your business and what you want out of your business. When you're using algos, and I'm going to tell you right now, algos are BS. All right, total BS. They will just move your price up and down. You will have your results will look like a mountain range. Okay, so your income on a daily on over a month will be up, down, up, down, up, down.
No,
and the reason there's no consistency, and the reason you've got no consistency is that you're not competitive. You're out of the buy box when your sales are going down.
Yep.
And you're in the buy box when the sales are going up. But there's no consistency in your business. You're not turning over your items quick enough, and that's what you need to be considering. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, I should be making £5 on that item," and how long do you keep the item? You've got storage fees. Storage fees are tiny. Everyone thinks about storage fees. They actually are tiny. Yeah. They're like 50p a month. Exactly 10p something. So forget about storage. It's a fixed price. Put that down as a fixed price. That's storage. But what you are looking at is that when you're buying something, most of us will have that on a credit card. You've got your interest. So how long are you going to have that item on your?
You really want to turn over stuff a lot.
What's the credit card interest? 20-30%. You've got to take that into account when you're holding on to something to make £5 because you won't let it go for £4 profit. You know what I mean? So you've got to turn it over, get that money back in, and if it's something that's not selling and you're waiting, it's going to be Q4 in 13 weeks time, or hang on to it, really, just sod it, get rid of the bloody thing.
And
Get your money and go buy something else, or or don't send it in the first place, or don't buy it just yet. I mean, I know people do. I mean, if you're a big seller, some big sellers will you have pallets worth of stuff waiting to go in and queue for. That's not all of us. That's not all of us. If you're a medium to small seller, you're looking for turnover. Yeah. Turn over your money, get it back in, buy something else, and turn it over as quick as you can, because that's how you make your money.
Can I just say, right? So Cindy said you don't realise how much you need STK until you have it. Nikki said definitely more webinars. Brianna said very useful. I think the reason why I've got behind Norm, I've got nothing to do with it. I've got no vested interest in STK. I just think it's brilliant software. So it's all Norm's. Everything is his. The reason I get behind that and SAS with Al Carlton and Arbitrage Hero Max is because the three of you are still currently sellers. And I think that makes such a difference, the fact that you are in the trenches and you have a selling account and you see it from a seller's perspective rather than from you're a seller who happens to be a developer, if that makes sense, rather than the other way around. So I think that's such an important thing.
Yeah, and the reason I wrote or developed STK, I mean, it looked nothing like it does today. I started this journey, it's got to be over 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, and it was because I couldn't get this information from Amazon. I couldn't work it out, so I thought, well, I'll just knock something up. Can't be that difficult. 3 years later, I'm still working on it because it's Amazon data is absolutely atrocious, as you know. Their support is atrocious. Everything about Amazon, their API, is absolutely atrocious. And you've got to kind of work your way through a minefield. You've got no idea. And the size of the code base within and the database, well, the actual code base is bigger than the Harry Potter volumes. It's huge. It is absolutely huge. And this is mainly just it's having to get the data from all different places and then make a decision on which bit's true.
So, okay, Martha, I don't know if this is possible. I might have to do a different YouTube video for you and me, Norm. Martin has said, just a reminder of the question about your daily, weekly, monthly STK routines. I think that's going to be tricky to do in this one. Can we do a YouTube video of this? I mean, I said money. Every time I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is my money, because fundamentally that's what businesses are. So what does Amazon owe me in disbursements? Have the disbursements previously hit my bank? And what is overdue? That's the first thing I do every morning, and I strongly recommend everyone does the same. But I think we'll put a YouTube thing together of tasks that are weekly, monthly, and daily. Should we do that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the simplest approach to it is to look at your alerts.
Yep.
That's going to tell you what you need to do, what you need to look at.
Yeah.
Your alerts there will say, like, there's a cog missing. Your alerts will tell you
there are tasks which are done weekly and monthly, so I think I will either do it together or
okay, right. We'll sit there.
So for example, I'm VAT registered, so I send the VAT information in monthly and stuff like that.
Oh, right, okay.
Amazon reports are so confusing. STK has saved my poor hair from being torn out. Well,
it's dreadful. Exactly.
I think that's kind of everything wrapped up. So the general consensus is everybody has liked these. So I think maybe we should do another one. We should do it like once a month or something, just a Q&A. Because obviously you'll be bringing out new features every now and again, and plus it's really good. I mean, I cannot begin to describe to everyone how important and how brilliant the replenishing sheet is. The replenishing report is fantastic. So stuff like that. So yeah, why don't we do this a bit more of an often thing? I know Sundays are normally pub days, so we might have to do it one evening, but I think we should definitely do something.
Maybe months before we get back down to the Sunday lunch.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, keep this sane and do it back to pub days. So so unless anyone's, I'm just going to leave it open for a minute in case anyone's got any more burning questions. If there's anything we didn't cover.
Yeah. Did we cover the missing inventory and reimbursement? Oh, right, fine, good.
Yep, we did. Yeah, I've quite enjoyed it actually. I quite enjoy doing these. They're quite good fun. So yes. So as I said, support and help is always available via Norm directly and on his Seller Toolkit Facebook group. But please do, my group is like a sister group to it. A lot of the people on STK are in my group. That's kind of the home for people. So post questions on my group or me privately. I urge you only to go to Norm if it's an issue about your account that he needs to go into the back office and have a look at. If it's a general inquiry, generally I can help. And the more we can spread that support, the more time Norm can work on getting the repricer out.
Indeed. Thank you.
You can rewatch it, Mary-Ann. We think it's recorded, and we're going to put it on YouTube this afternoon. So that's it. Rachel, you reminded me of the Reprem report, or will that be covered another time? We're going to cover it next time. If you want to just message me, Jess, I'll go over it with you. It's brilliant. Yes, I know you're struggling with the 30 days average thing. We will do. Give us a shout, and I'll help you.
I think, yeah, the replan. I'll say,
leave Norm alone so he can.
Yeah, I just know.
Oh, but yeah, I think it's quite important. Okay, okay. So Gaurav actually has a question. Presume STK accounts the fact that Amazon has paid you and added your balance to each and every sale you've made. Presume STK accounts for the fact that Amazon has paid you and added you to your balance for each and every sale you've made. Not sure I quite understand what you're getting at. If you want to add a couple of if you want to add a couple of sentences to make that make a bit more sense, and that's probably my fault. I'm not really with that. Sorry.
No, I've read it a couple of times, Gaurav. Are you saying that every sale on STK?
STK is 100% accurate.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what you mean by the fact that Amazon's paid you, because
each and every sale you've made, STK records each and every sale you make, and you'll see on some of them it will say cancelled. So STK knows that and takes it off the balance, and it also knows when you've had a customer refund. So can you go to the dashboard page quickly, Norm, just for that? I don't know if you've got any just potluck as to what's the. Oh, there we go. So it will see in there if you've got, this is test data. So this isn't Norm's actual account, everybody. But it will tell you refunds and things. And so everything is accounted for in STK always. But I will just finish by saying STK isn't sufficient to do your HMRC accounts. You need 0 for that. Am I right in saying that, Norm? You couldn't use STK?
Yeah, because VAT works on a quarter basis, and so this is working on the order basis. So with VAT returns, you'll put in all your credit VAT, the VAT that you're claiming back is based on everything you purchased within that quarter, that 3 months. Whereas you might have bought something 10 months ago, which is still for sale and sells today, for instance. So the VAT there is not VAT that you owe today, because some of that VAT you'd already claimed back. It's just the VAT that's showing on STK is showing there, so that you get the right profit and loss. Currently,
I strongly recommend linking my books and 0. So Gaurav's gone into a bit more detail. So what I mean is that rather than checking you've been paid for each sale, I don't personally go to the report section and check the transaction history. So I'm assuming STK ensures that Amazon has added your balance for each sale you've made. STK isn't responsible for Amazon. It can only go, as I said before, it can only go one way. So Amazon, that's the question for Amazon rather than STK. STK knows what's been sold.
Yeah, you'd have to download. If you wanted to go down that route, you'd download the statement reports from Amazon, but you're just downloading complicated crap. You know what I mean? So what's the point?
Stuff like that, yeah. It's a
bit there is one
silly question. Sorry, I live by very basic premises. Never ever. Only silly questions are the ones you don't ask. So you might not be the only person having that question. So the answer, no, it's not silly at all. Thank you very much for raising it. For me, I'm a reasonably big middle-sized seller, small to medium-sized seller, and I don't bother checking that. I fundamentally trust STK. And my accountant has access to my STK and 0, and everything always matches up. So I'm very happy with it. I'd like some help on the replenishing report also, please, Nikki. So yes, I think we should do it again. We should do it with like a topic like this, and just tell people it's probably going to be an hour and a half up to 2 hours. Do your topic and then some Q&As. I quite like that format.
Yep.
So is the VAT shown VAT on the fees or VAT on the items sold?
Depends if you're VAT registered or not. If you're not VAT registered, the VAT shown is the VAT on the fee, and the fee is shown as net of that. Because the reason we show fees net of VAT on STK is because that then coincides with most of the other apps that you're probably using for for fee calculation. So when you're doing sourcing and stuff like that, even through Amazon don't include the VAT on your fees. So that everything ties up, I always show fees. STK always shows the fees as the net of VAT. And the VAT you see, if you're not VAT registered, is the VAT on fees. Add the two together, that's your fee charge.
Perfect.
If you are registered for VAT, then the VAT shown is the net of the VAT of your sale minus your COG.
So it's
green,
no fees on that. Basically green if you get that back and red if you owe that. Simple as that. Emmanuel, could STK be linked to Multitool or BuyBot Pro?
No.
No, STK is already linked to SaaS with Al Carlton, and I was talking to him about this yesterday. There are more connections going to come in between the two of them. So Seller Toolkit and SaaS work together. So Seller Amp at the bottom of your little icons at the side. So if you are analysing something through SaaS and you've been selling for like a year, SaaS will tell you if Seller Toolkit has ever had it in Seller Toolkit, in your Seller Toolkit. So they talk to each other already. STK does not talk to BuyBot Pro.
No, it will never talk to anything but like software that's built by us or within the
because fundamentally ours is a seller like Norm, and so they're two sellers and devs who come together and just have a really good chinwag and fix problems.
Yeah, we're not running a marketing site here. This is sellers with seller software, and our software is the best.
It is.
Absolutely, because I know it is. Even though I have to say so myself, I know it will be everything. I was telling Emily yesterday that I've got a to-do list with 100 items on it at least, and some of those items will take a couple of hours, some of those items will take 3 or 4 weeks. So I've got months and months of work yet to do. There's loads more being added to the basic version. You're going to have so much more information, so much easier. And I'm trying to make Seller Toolkit the place you go and never have to go to Seller Central ever, and so that everything's here. Now with SaaS, we are doing more integration. We'll be doing a lot more integration. There's going to be a hell of a lot more integration between STK and SaaS. We've got other plans to go having integration with other software tools that some of you are using.
Can I say what it is? Because I know there are people who use it. No, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I have read it out to a few people, but it's not really fair on the other people right now because we were still in discussion. It's 99% chance it's going to happen, but it's like in a
Andy said so when we're outsourcing and buying via his app. SaaS's app, we can connect to the info on STK. That's a question probably for Al because I'm not sure what you can see on the app, but they're definitely connecting. They're definitely connected, STK and SaaS.
Yeah, what you will see currently, on this on SaaS is that if you are already selling that item or sold that item in the past, you'll get the information about that item on STK on SaaS from STK. So you'll be able to see if you've got any available, if you've run out, the last time you sold the item, all that information will be on SaaS.
But the other thing is, because I've been selling for quite a while now, there's something that I sold like 18 months ago. I completely forgot I sold it. I sent 3 in as a tester. It didn't really work. I've gone into SaaS. I'm like, oh my God, I looked at this in January 2019. Oh dear. And then I can decide whether to give it another go or wonder why I gave it a wide berth in the first place. So it's a really good piece. And the more collaboration is coming.
Yes, definitely.
Exciting.
So, yeah, we're running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah. So
we've got 11 minutes.
We'll do another one of these. I agree. I think the STK is brilliant for loads of different reasons. It pays for itself with its reconciliation, but the replen is also really good. So I think that's what we should do next.
Yeah, I'll say that the replen was done in collaboration with a few sellers. One of the sellers is a very big seller, and he loves STK. I mean, he's huge, and he wanted a replen process that gave him exact figures of what he needed to buy and when. And so I already had an idea of how to do. He didn't know exactly how he wanted it, but he knew what he wanted. So I came up with the idea of how the spreadsheet works. I'm going to be adding some of that functionality to the online process as well, because people have asked whether it should be there really, but that's one of the items on the to-do list. So it's been built based on somebody that has a huge warehouse, okay? And he loves it. He works for him brilliantly. It's what he wants. And if it works for him, and it's Emily just like raving about it, I can assure you it'll work for him.
I love it. But my business is pretty much all replens, and I couldn't do it without it. I couldn't do it without it. Yeah, it's really good. So I'm just answering Andy. So very quickly, if you buy something for £5 and then you buy it for £4, if you bought like 5 at £5, when you enter your cogs in, put your £5 in. If you buy it the next day at £4, when you enter your cogs for the second day, you put your £4 in. STK will know when it's run out of which ones. So STK will know which batch.
It's called the first in, first out. So if you bought 10 items a month ago and you shipped those 10 items in, then that becomes one cog of 10 units. If you then go the next week and buy another 10 and ship them in, that 10 becomes another cog item. And now you might have paid the same price for those, or you may have paid different prices. Now, if you paid the same price, what will happen? The first cog will come up, and you'll just put in you bought that for £10, and then the next time you buy it, it will go into what's called cog replen, or cog check. And what they're saying is it will apply all the same cog information from the last time you bought it, so that you don't have to do anything if you bought it for the same price. So if you bought it for the same price, then you just say, yeah, that's correct, click. So you don't have to like enter the actual cog itself. But if you paid, say this time you paid £11 for it to £10, so then you just say, right, I paid £11 for that batch. So the first 10 was £10, second batch was £11. And what happens is your first 10 orders for that item will have the cog of the £10, and as soon as it clocks over to the 11th item, it will then start showing the £11.
Perfect. STK is very clever. It knows so much stuff. You just need to tell it what to do with it. It's very.
I think the cog bit it flummoxed quite a lot of people. Was like thinking that why there's all these duplicates, because they're used to using other softwares, and I couldn't work out how you would enter your cogs to be a different price from other softwares. I said, well, what if you bought like 10 at £10 and 10 at £11? How does that work? How does that work with your repricer? Have you got to sit there and wait for the 10th item to change, and you've got to go into your repricing and change
and you've got to catch it. Catch
it, you know. So like I never got that. So no, right from the start, it had to be first in, first out. So from the repricer's perspective, it is quite important, you know, because the way the repricer works, you can be as passive as you want, or you can be as micromanaged as you want, which is what we mentioned earlier. Myself and Emily have a passive approach, which is just the one rule.
There's not too much going on.
Yeah, it's the one rule. Whereas somebody wants to micromanage, that's fine. You have 10 rules and minimum maxes and stuff like that. But what it's doing is it's applying the right prices to. So if you're repricing, you're saying your minimum is £3 profit, and you were selling at £10. Now you bought something at £11 and your minimum is £3. STK's got to go, whoa, we've got to increase the price. Yeah, so if you want to keep £3.
Norm and I have worked really hard to put loads of YouTube videos together, and they're all separate. So basically, you should be able to look for the YouTube video about the item you want. So it's not one great big video, it's all specific. So if you just want to know about reports or just orders or just inventory, go and find the video on the YouTube channel, and that should explain most of the things that you.
Yeah, those same videos are all in STK help as well. And they all point directly to your YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to Emily's YouTube channel. Anything else goes more, and obviously whenever anything new gets added to the help videos, I've got a new broadcast process, as you've seen before, which came up to like alert you to this webinar. So I've now got a broadcast process. So with anything you need to know, it'll come up as a broadcast.
Does STK have the ability to create a smart G sheet where your repriced products data are transferred automatically? There is one in SAS. I don't know that STK has that or needs that kind of functionality. That's more an analytical thing, I think. SAS uses Google Sheets. Yes. Awesome.
So Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, 43 people are still with us, an hour and 53 minutes in. Unfortunately, what's happened is two waffly people have collided. So we always sit there and say, right, it's going to take 20 minutes to film this. And
we've got 2 hours. We've got plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And when we make those videos, the videos you see to help, we say, well, this should be really short. This be 5 minutes. 45 minutes later, yeah. So actually, don't put that. We'll put people off from watching them, but they're easily watchable because
they're not dry
because of the interaction. The dry ones are where I'm just talking away, the original ones, and I don't know if I'm going too fast, too slow, and Emily's able to just stop me, and you guys will be able to stop with your questions, and we can just revisit something. But yeah, so we will do more of these. There will be more videos
added. We need to launch the Repricer. Look out on Norm's group and my group, and yeah, it's exciting times.
Okay, well, thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody. Actually,
thank you so much, everyone who stayed with us and joined us. If anyone's got any more questions, please, the first port of call is the general group for me or Norm. Email me privately. If it's really specific, email Norm, but try and see if we can deviate some of that to, because we can all help each other. If you're posting in a group, we can all answer it. And you know, you're probably not the only person with that question. So if you post it privately, Norm probably gets, I certainly get the same question at least twice a day. So if you place it in a group, other people can refer back to it, and maybe they don't have the confidence to ask the question. So you've done it on their behalf too.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Right. See you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.